Sheep are known for their timidity, fearfulness, stubbornness, stupidity, and mass instincts such as blindly and carelessly following the crowd. No offense, ladies, but this describes how we behave sometimes. You know why the Shulamite wanted to know about where and how the beloved cared for his flock? Because she knew this would be a good indicator of the type of man he is. Read with me. I'm reading How Beautiful Are Your Feet, subtitled Transforming Relationships One Giant Step at a Time by R. Winone Morris, published 2014. Last week, TikToker and IGer ReesaTessa created a 50 video playlist called Who the F Did I Marry? Each video was about 9 minutes each. That's approximately 7 hours and 26 minutes of video watching. And yes, it did go viral. Of course, I decided to highlight my chapter called Telltale Signs. If you are a believer, single young lady, or a single black mom raising daughters who wants to improve your perceptivity and establish a baseline for discerning a man's character, this chapter's for you. What's up, y'all? It's Coach Roberta, your friendly disruptor and soul coach. Chapter 25. Tell me you who I love, where you graze your flock, and where you rest your sheep at noonday. That's Song of Solomon 1, verse 7, the NIV version. Telltale signs. There's a bit of controversy in the Song of Solomon about the main man or men involved. Some believe it's one man, King Solomon, the beloved. Others think there is a king and a shepherd, both who are vying for the Shulamite's love. This difference in views comes from certain references. Sometimes the beloved is depicted as a rugged shepherd tending his flock, walking around and checking on his vineyard and garden. Other times he's described as a wealthy king. Those in the camp of the two men theory believe that no real king would dare do such menial tasks because he had servants to attend to those kinds of affairs, hence must be two different men. I also found another opinion that said that the king disguised himself as a shepherd to give himself anonymity and privacy. No paparazzi, please. That way, he would be able to determine whether the Shulamite was genuinely interested in him and not his wealth. Which view is correct? I humbly submit none of them are, and here's why. In Scripture, Jesus is known as a lion and a lamb, which show two different characteristics of his one person. In like manner, the beloved in the Song of Solomon is depicted as a king and a shepherd. In other words, he is both. The latter, the shepherd, is a telltale sign of character. A person can become a king by inheritance, but you cannot inherit character. It must be developed. What manner of man is he? Tell me you, whom I love, where you graze your flock and where you rest your sheep at noonday. You know why the Shulamite wanted to know about where and how the beloved cared for his flock? Because she knew this would be a good indicator of the type of man he is. To expand on this, a book titled A Shepherd's Look at Psalms 23 by Philip Keller is a great read. The author's perspective of Psalms 23 comes from his personal experiences as a shepherd. In Keller's own words, I grew up in East Africa surrounded by simple native herders whose customs closely resembled those of their counterparts in the Middle East. He also was a sheep owner and sheep rancher for 8 years, so he wrote from firsthand experience. Keller observes, quote, no other class of livestock requires more careful handling, more detailed direction than do sheep. No doubt David, as a shepherd himself, had learned this firsthand. He knew beyond dispute that if the flock was to flourish and the owner's reputation was to be held in high esteem, as a good manager, the sheep had to be constantly under meticulous control and guidance, end quote. The author continues, quote, the intelligent shepherd is aware of this, not only for the welfare of his sheep and the health of his land, but also for his own sake and reputation as a rancher. He must take the necessary precautions to safeguard against these adverse animal traits, end quote. Adverse traits? Yes. Sheep are known for their timidity, fearfulness, stubbornness, stupidity, and mass instincts such as blindly and carelessly following the crowd. No offense, ladies, but this describes how we behave sometimes. It takes a special kind of man who thinks like a king and shepherd, a man who has learned to subdue adverse traits, to handle all of that. I'm talking about a man of high esteem, of patience, someone who's a good manager and meticulous caregiver. That's the kind of man we need to lead and guide our household. The men we encounter may not be shepherds in the literal sense, but we can observe how a man interacts with the less fortunate, the helpless, the underage, the elderly, and those over whom he has responsibility, whether in his personal life or in business. Are you looking for the telltale signs of a man's true character? Or are you so anxious to be in a relationship that it hasn't mattered? Are you ignoring the telltale signs that you see? Thanks for joining this segment of the author's read. Please be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Until next time, beloved, I wish that you prosper and be in good health, even as your soul prospers. This is Coach Roberta, your friendly disruptor and soul coach.